For more information, we would like to welcome Sir Abdalla Khalid, the head of the Business Development in the Middle East and West Asia Region Department in the BBC World Service. Good evening, Mr. Abdalla.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Abdalla, as the whole world is receiving this sad news of ending the BBC Arabic radio services, how do you describe the current situation where you are currently right now?
I mean, obviously, it's a very significant day for the BBC World Service, and in particular BBC Arabic. As you kindly said in your introduction piece, we've been broadcasting on linear radio for decades, serving millions of Arabic speakers in the world and around the world. So it is a significant day. Obviously, it's a mixture of emotions. People are sad that the linear broadcasting is coming to an end. However, you know, I have been in the building and I have been with the Arabic service earlier today. And I do see a genuine sense of excitement, and people are really sort of like looking forward for the opportunities ahead and what the digital media distribution platforms can do for the service.
Mr. Abdalla, according to reports, the closing decision was due to the ongoing financial crisis engulfing Britain, as we all know. Are there other factors that contributed to the decision?
Well, I would actually say it's not purely financial related. The World Service as an organization for a number of years now already have embarked in a strategy of becoming a digital first organization. So this didn't happen overnight or just over the last 2-3 months. It's been a strategy in the making for quite some time now. You know, obviously the financial situation is not just limited to the UK, it's actually a global issue. But the main driver behind this move is, you know, people listening habits are changing. Digital media is growing rapidly across the whole world and obviously in the Middle East as well. And the BBC basically decided it's really important that we make the switch now before it's too late. We don't want to play catch up, if you like. We want to be available for people when they want us, whenever they want us. And obviously digital distribution and digital platforms are the future.
Also, before we conclude, being both the largest and oldest non-English language service around the world, how did the BBC Arabic contribute in developing media here in Kuwait?
Well, I wouldn't, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't say the BBC developed the media in Kuwait. I think the two countries together worked in developing media in Kuwait. We've learned a lot from each other over the last 2 decades or so. You know, Kuwait actually, and I was actually in Kuwait quite recently. It was one of the very first countries that allowed the BBC to broadcast on FM locally. So it's been one of the pioneers in, you know, advocating for the provision of news and free media and what have you. So, you know, the BBC has worked actually very closely with Kuwaiti media organizations. And I would like to say that we together developed media in Kuwait, not just the BBC doing it. We have, over the last 15 years or so, worked together in a lot of training programs where we exchanged knowledge and ideas. And it was an annual event where we get together and we learn from our colleagues in Kuwait and they learn from us. And actually, I also want to say the BBC on linear radio will remain in Kuwait. For your viewers, the BBC still operates a 24/7 FM frequency in English in Kuwait City. And that's not going anywhere. It will remain. And we hope our relationship will continue on that basis. And we continue to collaborate in the media environment.
Inshallah, we wish you all the best, and the BBC team all the best as well. That was Mr. Abdalla Khalid, the head of the Business Development in the Middle East and West Asia Region Department in the BBC World Service. Thank you, Mr. Abdalla.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.